ain't going back. Not gonna buy into all that. Hey, hey, ain't gonna hide. Gonna let all the fears slide. Got Mother Nature is on my side. Got all of the loving growing inside.
Hello, everyone. I want to welcome Cambell again to a chat of ours. I wanted to say welcome him to the New Now, but it seems, we've been sharing our information between the New Now and his channel, Auto Didactic. So I'm going to welcome us both to each other, so to speak. And our chat here today, which is going to be politely called Grow a Pair. What a man needs to do in times of trouble to help his society, family, friends, wife, life, girlfriend if you don't have a friend, neighbor if you don't have any of the above, towards a better life. Cambell, hey, how's it going with you today?
Good. Thanks for having me again, Lorenzo. Good to see you. Yeah, doing well. Everything's a bit strange, obviously, but getting through there, keeping the vibes high.
Yeah, it seems to me my pair has been growing, so to speak, if people will pardon the rudeness, through the challenges. It's like there's been an old, I remember a Chinese monk, the Shaolin monks, right, when they used to do their training supposedly for not being able to be hurt. And one of the trainings they did was to be kicked in the balls over and over. I remember watching, I love Asian martial arts, and I've done some kung fu and kickboxing myself over the years. So I used to watch all those crazy, videos. And I remember doing Shaolin training, and I watched them do this, right? And supposedly, if you can believe what you see in a video or a movie I watched at the time, the more they got kicked, so to speak, the stronger they became and the less apt they were to fall over the next time it happened. So,
it's yeah, those videos are still on YouTube, but that's just insanity. I don't know where that came from, but I'm not sure if that's manliness, though.
Yeah. But kind of the side of, it seems like in these days of the viral shenanigans, everybody seems to be getting metaphorically in the balls a lot, right? So, we're talking about growing the pair in the first place, though. So what do you think that means?
Well, I think it's the whole, inner versus outer world thing, isn't it? Like the whole manliness is, males for the last 20, 30 years at least. I mean, well, back to John Wayne and before, we've been taught that manliness is the way you act. It's like back in the day, you were a gunslinger and a cowboy, and then you were, one of the cops. And then in the 80s, we had, Sylvester, and you had to get muscles, and Arnie, and everyone hit the gyms. And it's all this thing about looking the part, but that doesn't mean you're playing the part. That doesn't mean that you are the part. Manliness, and masculinity and that energy and power, that comes from inside. That doesn't come from a t-shirt that you buy down the shop. And if you're, if you see someone as, masculine, something that you'd like to, be like, aspire to, then you should look at how they act. You shouldn't, but everyone goes out and dresses like them. And they're like, oh, he's got muscles, I'll go to the gym. Oh, he's got this hair, I'll do that. But that doesn't change you. That just, and I think this is the problem is, there's not a lot of masculinity being taught, is there, by fathers? And so young men go out and look for it, and then society, of course, goes, oh, you're looking well, hey, look here, we've got all this for you, come on, grab a gun, go kill someone, that's manly. But that's not manly. Manly is defending. It's not going out and attacking. That they're different things. So I think it's all been skewed to the physical a bit too much.
Or on the other side of things, the aggressive part of manliness is being attacked, turning men more passive, we'll say. So it's like you've gotten both ends and you end up with nothing. You've been showed either to go to the gym, and deadlift 7,000 pounds or whatever, or which of course doesn't make you a man. It just makes you a guy walking around with big muscles. Or consequently, and these days when the gyms are closed in lots of the parts of the world due to the garbage going on, you're basically told, toxic masculinity, don't be strong, don't be a man, don't take the lead, don't take the role, equal this and equal that. And the woman should also be leading, and the man, has to be apologetic for having been bad. And what are you left with, like in the middle, but going, well, this is wrong and this is wrong. Now what do I do?
Yeah. I mean, it comes from, it really stems from people just don't know who they are, and people are sort of out there, struggling to find answers and looking, and unfortunately they're just being given the wrong answers, the wrong information. And so at one point, see, this is what society does, not because they know that we're not all the same. So they've got the war movies and the UFC and all this kind of stuff for the, the more masculine guys. And then they've got all the, gender dysmorphia, shall we call it, all that kind of side of stuff, the soy latte drinking crowd. And they sort of, so they take it from both ends. So you end up with, you don't have anyone with the morals of a man. You have either these people acting out, thinking that masculinity is killing people and attacking and going, well, look at my muscles. And these other people on the other end are like, you can't be masculine at all because look, the other masculines are out there with muscles killing people. You're a supremacist. And so it's definitely an attack on masculinity and the father, the father in the house. And this has been going on, we know from work, jobs, getting dad out of the house, away from the kids. Then of course they did the same with mum, but yeah, it comes down to, where are the teachers? Who's teaching this stuff? Who's teaching young men to think as men? Because men are the defenders. We're the builders, the defenders. We have a different role to women, and if you don't like that, well, I don't care. Men and women are different, and we have different strengths, and that's why if you look back in history, you don't see stories of dad staying home with the kids and mum going out and ploughing the fields or joining the army, because we have roles that we're good at, and we need to find those roles again and define them again, because it's just been skewed. They want to tell us that everything to do with the family and masculinity or femininity is wrong. But clearly, that's got us where we are. That's human history. That's what we are. What's happened in the last 20 years is not what we are, because look at where it's led us very quickly. So there's definitely an attack on masculinity, and there's a big void of, where to get the right information. There really is, and that's the problem.
Maybe people need to see, just go inside, figure, like I found, I used to think, what is a man to be tough? And I've tried that. Or what is a man is to be always in charge, or to make lots of money, or whatever. And, I would think whether it's a man or a woman or anybody, a true hero or a true man may be someone who just leads by example. Right. And, like how you do and what you do. And when I was growing up, as a young lad, my parents said many things, but their actions said something else over and over and over. Right. And, and I found, of course, I didn't believe the words. After a little while, once you're older than 6, you kind of stop believing the words and you start believing the actions. And, since we're talking maybe about growing a pair, or I guess a less polite way is, come back to me when your balls drop used to be kind of an insult on the playground. I remember at the time. It's that's, I guess, an analogy for reaching maturity, right? When your balls drop, you can procreate, you can make babies if you want, your energy's mature. So you've gone into another step and stage in your life where you're supposed to become, at the very least, a leader of yourself, I would say.
Yeah. Again, it's, this story, like when you turn 18, if you're a man, you've just got to go and have sex with as many women as you can. That again, that's not being a man. Any male with an appendage can do that. It doesn't make them a man.
No.
A man is someone who follows through and raises the family and protects it and does it. That's what a man is. Someone who decides that they're going to have a child and is not out there using women. And this isn't, it's just, we've been just so warped, because the other thing that a lot of, young men are taught is to disrespect females. That's a huge thing. And it comes from not respecting themselves, not having good role models, all this kind of stuff. But I think we've just got to get back to, it's the men now, because we're, in our generation, like you've just kind of touched on, Lorenzo, we weren't taught you know, our dads are at work. You know, we weren't out in the field. We weren't taught masculinity. We weren't taught all this stuff. We've had to discover it ourselves and work on it, and go inside, like you said, and decide what we stand for. What are our values? What are we? You know, are we ourselves, or are we just going to be dragged along by the system and you know, dress like everyone else and hope that works? So everyone who is a father at the moment needs to take their job more seriously, you know, and I know a lot of people do, but a lot of people don't. And if you're not going to take it seriously, don't have a kid. It's that simple. You know, grow up and grow a pair, because seriously, growing a pair is having the balls and the ethics to say, well, I'm not just going to, you know, go around and root all these women because I think that's manly and, you know, rah, rah, rah. It's thinking consequences. Where do you want to be? What do you want your life to be? Why don't you go and choose a real woman and create something, rather than running around with all these women that you just want to disrespect? I mean, people don't think about where their actions are going to get them. You know, they make all these decisions and they go in, and then they don't think about, you know, what the result will be. And when it all goes pear-shaped, they want to complain. That again, that's not masculinity. That masculine energy, you know, it finds how do I say this? When we get problems, we find how to solve them. That's it. You don't go and cry in the corner. You know, you use your creativity and you build something. You know, obstacles are just challenges, and we've got to see it like that. And that's masculinity, because that's what we need to take care of. Because if that's all taken care of, the food and the house and all this kind of stuff, then the women can also do their job properly.
Right.
You know, it's a two-way street. And this whole thing again of, you know, the independent, strong, independent woman, rah, 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 rah. And all these women that followed it, now they're 40 and they're like, oh, I think I want a man. Yeah. And the men are like, well, what have you been doing for the last 20 years? You've been flying around with God knows how many guys. I'm not sure that you're wife material. And then they start crying in the corner. You know, guys, we've got to think and make better decisions. And I think that's a masculine thing. We need to be able to see further. We need to be able to, you know, not just jump into things and react. We need to act, you know, act with, you know, volition, acting with something that comes from somewhere, from a moral and ethical base, not just this, well, you know, Rambo's got muscles, I'm going to go to the gym. I mean, that's
Well, it's what's really interesting, you know, besides, like, I agree with what you said, and I think it's natural for a man to want to protect his environment, you know, his local house, let's say, and community, and then country, and you can take it out to the whole world if you like. But what are you protecting your ladies from? You know, like Cambell said, it's like you have a daughter and you're going to put her into the world where she's going to have 200 boyfriends before she gets married, or, you know, you're allowing the ladies in your community to become loose, for lack of a better way to put it, because you want to act, you know, you grow up and be a big dick and they become big pussies. You know, whose responsibility is that? I mean, it's not a lady's responsibility, let's say, to go to the local whatever and say, hey, this is bad information. This is bad things you're teaching in school. You know, this is something that my kids don't need to learn. There's so many ways you can grow a pair. You know, standing up, I think, for your moral center would be one. It's like deciding, you know, like also, you know, Cambell mentioned not complaining, oh, my school is horrible or this is horrible, but figuring it out, doing something about it, making sure, you know, if you look around your life and you don't like the way the ladies are, and you don't like the way the children are, and you don't like the way other men are, as let's say Cambell and I may have done, you know, I don't want to put any words in his mouth, but I can say for myself, that's come up a lot. So instead of sitting and complaining, which I used to do 10, 20 years ago, I said, okay, what am I going to do? You know, what am I going to do to help change that? Instead of, you know, becoming a baby in the corner and pointing a finger and, you know, getting lost in a bottle of beer or something like that. You know, I decided
again, where's that going to get you, right?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and the thing is, you know, people think that life is hard, and obviously, you know, we have all these sayings, oh, life is hard, rah, rah, rah. Life isn't hard unless you make it hard. Life is teaching you to grow. It wants you to see more. It wants you to grow. So it puts up challenges in front of you, and it's your job to work that challenge out and get through it. And through that, you grow. This whole thing of, oh, there's a challenge. Oh my God, I'm going to go sit on the couch and cry and watch Netflix. I mean, look, you can cry all day about, oh, I was programmed and all the movies and all this and all my parents, but is that going to help? Where are you now? Why don't you take action that's going to move you forward? You know, I mean, because you can dwell in the past and that's your choice, but you have to understand that you're still going to be there in 20 years until you make a decision to change your focus. You're just going to go round and round in circles because, you know, the only constant is change. But if you keep thinking the same thoughts, it just keeps changing to the same thing. It's just the same. You know, so we need to, you know, find a moral base. You know, this whole lack of morals is really, you know, it's a huge thing because, you know, fathers should be protecting daughters. They shouldn't be letting them out into those kind of situations. You know, this whole thing about, you know, and I did it, and no doubt many of us have, you know, going out and just starting drinking when you're 16 and going out and getting drunk every weekend. I mean, that's not a good way to raise young adults. And this is what we have. Then we have all these young adults and they go to the woke universities. And like Lorenzo said, you know, we end up with these fat, bald men dressed up as women, reading stories to 3-year-olds. And that needs to be stopped. Like, seriously, that is a place right there where the men can get together, march down to the school and go, right, this does not happen again. Case closed. You don't go there to ask questions. You go there and you say, this is unacceptable, close down now. There's no debate. That's masculine energy. Is you stand up and you draw the line and you stand there and you defend that line. And that has to be for the morals for children, because if we don't raise good, you know, children, what do we end up with? Trash human beings, right? So it all starts at home, and that's what a man does. You know, he doesn't leave; he sticks around. He sees things through. And you know, even if you have problems and you get divorced, that doesn't mean that if you're a man, don't run away. You've still got responsibilities. You still have to make sure everyone's sorted out. You know, it's not your kid's fault if you have a problem with your partner. It's got nothing, you know. So, yeah, this whole,
I think
it's just action, isn't it? I think, just action.
I would agree.
Take the steps.
I like how you put it. Going to the school, it's like you don't go and say, "Please stop this program," or "I wish you wouldn't do that," or you know, I'd like to bring it up at the next PTA meeting, or perhaps we'll talk to the board. It's like you go, no, you know, there are consequences to hurting my child and the children in my neighborhood, and that would be the end of it. You act unmorally towards someone close to me, and you will feel the wrath of my sword, so to speak, and that would end it very quickly. And being afraid to go to jail, or for the police to show up at your door, or the next door, you know, fat womanly man or manly woman to come and complain, it's like, whatever, you know, it's you know, not caring about those kind of consequences. Other people should care about the consequences of stepping into your moral center, I would feel.
Yes, exactly.
The way around.
Yeah. And it's did you see that guy in the US who put that sign up and said, you know, if you're not born with one, then you're not one. You know, and you know, he was like 5'5" or something, you know, standing next to this 6-foot man woman thing. But he did not back down. He just stood there, stood his ground, said, there's the line. I don't care what you think. If you don't like it, go away. If you're going to come here and harass me, then you've got an issue. And he stood his ground, and all these woke people thought that they were going to have a big protest and go and close down his business. Nah. Pretty much 80% of USA stood behind him and said, all right, we'll meet you there. Go and protest. We'll be there too. And suddenly their protest disappeared because he stood his ground as a man. And this was a 70-year-old dude. So don't tell me that, you know, you can't do it. And he didn't have to push. There was no violence. It was just his power and his conviction and his ethics. And it's like, there's the line. Don't step over it. That's, you know, and that's it. And all this stuff about people trying to get in people's faces. You should do this right. You should. No, guys, women, everyone, you need a line. If someone's trying to tell you how to live your life, tell them to shove their head up their butt, because these people, you go and look at their lives and they're trash. They're completely falling apart, but they run around and try and tell other people how to raise their children into what? A piece of trash like you? I don't think so. And this is what's happening, is they're attacking our morals. And this is, you know, it is an attack. It is. So we've got to recognize that and do something different, teach something different, raise better adults. And it's all to do with morals and ethics and not letting people sway you. There's my line. This is what I believe. You can believe that, but you try and change my mind and we've got an issue.
Yeah, I mean, a real man will let other people be. I have no problem with people that want to live like trash. I have no problem that, you know, men who want to cut off the thing they were born with and pretend to be a woman, or women to put on some tight pants and be angry. But when they come into your house and tell you, now you have to be as insane as I am, you know, or else we'll take your money away, or else, you know, we'll complain, or else we'll hit your Twitter account, or you know, or you'll be banned from Shitbook or whatever you want to call it. I mean, you know, at that point, it's like, what would a man do? A man would go, well, I don't care. You know, it has nothing to, if I have to stand alone in my moral certainty, then so be it. You know, and you'll find, you'll attract the right kind of ladies with that kind, you'll attract the right kind of work, you'll attract the right kind of money, you'll attract the right kind of friends. You have to be prepared, maybe, if you're not happy in your life. And maybe some people, and we've had these questions before, Cambell, and I've had them on other videos. People go, what do I do now? I like what you're saying. When I'm listening to you guys, I feel great. When the computer goes off, I'm lost and I don't know what to do. Oh my goodness. You know, so a first step might be, is if you don't have a moral standing, to find one. You know, or if you're unsure of yours, let's say, is like, I've spent 20, 30 years looking for my moral standing, you know, and falling on my head, falling in cesspits, falling in shitholes, you know, traveling to strange places, having strange relationships, being with strange people, you know, all looking for my, and I go, oh, that's not my moral center. Oh, that's not my moral center. Hangover is certainly not my moral center. You know, the ugly fat girlfriend I tried for one night, so to speak. Hope my wife's not listening. Is not not my moral center. You know, it's just, you know, so try it, look at it, but be honest with yourself. Like, once you've got a big pair of balls, I would say, you know, part of that is honesty, right? And centeredness. You know, maybe that's what happens when your pair drop, is you find your center of balance. And
we definitely need to stand. I mean, I'm not a Christian or anything. I'm not any denomination, or, you know, I don't I'm not part of any of that. But just as an example, you know, we've all seen, you know, Christians who stand up for their rights. You know, men who just stand there and they know what they stand for. They got their morals, and they're like, no, there's no way you're swaying me. I know what I believe. This is me. You try and come into this and change me, and we got issues. I mean, and so this is what we all need to do, because, you know, if you don't stand for something, right, you're going to fall for anything. You know, what do you stand for? What do you stand for? What are you as a male, you know, or female, if you're watching? Or, what's your ethics? You know, where's your line? What will you accept and not accept? And this is, like Lorenzo said, it's a really good place to start. Work out who you are and what you want to be is really what you want to work out. Because you can be whatever you want. It takes work. You can't be it tomorrow, but you can start work today and be better tomorrow. And then in 10 years, 5 years, whatever, 1 year, you'll be a completely different person. And it's all inner work, and it's all just finding out who you are and then living into that. You know, you can't, we all know, you know, wishy-washy people, they don't have an aura. They don't give off anything. They're just like wishy-washy people. But then there's other people who walk into a room and everyone's like, oh, and they just sense them walking into that room. Oh, okay, I sense some power. I sense someone, and you can't have power unless you believe in something. And yes, the word belief, but with ethics and morals, it is belief. This is what I am. This is what I stand for. You know, with other things, you know, you should, you know, be able to, you know, change your views in that. But when you get an ethical stance of who you are, that should be unchangeable. You know, and unless, you know, to a point, but it should be pretty much unchangeable. You know, if people are coming and whispering in your ear, no, do this, you should be, nah, that's a barrier no one gets through. You know, that's your inner sanctum. Nah.
It sounds perfect. I mean, I too have had some challenges with the word belief over a while, even a couple of weeks ago. And I had another chat with another fellow on here a little while ago, and he put it very well in that belief is only bad when your belief is such that you exclude other beliefs in your world, right? So if you believe something and then everyone has to believe it, he put it, that's when belief becomes violent, right? But if you're a man, you could say, this is my belief, and you can have your own belief, and they can have, and she can have her own belief, and I'm okay with people having different beliefs, right? I'm all right with, if your belief is everyone has to live the way you do, well, then you're going to have violent problems in your life. And if your belief is just take your pick, you choose that, because maybe you can have a knowing, but maybe it takes your whole life to get to a knowing. Maybe, we're always growing. So maybe your belief, as mine has been, is constantly changing, so if you allow your beliefs to even change and you allow your ideas of life to change, maybe that's, flexibility could be another way to grow a pair. Let's say if you're strong enough to let other people have their belief even standing beside you, as long as they're not stepping inside your, like I said, your moral standing, who cares? Who cares?
Yeah, exactly. That's definitely a masculine trait, is not getting offended. Like, why do you have to change everyone? You just have to. And this is the thing, if you're not sound in your own beliefs, then you're going to try and change everyone. If you are, and you know who you are, you don't care. People are allowed to be people. And it's like Lorenzo said, as long as they don't, come into your space, as long as they don't, put on wigs and go into, daycare centers, they can do whatever they want behind closed doors. If heterosexuals were out on the street having sex, they'd get arrested. We don't do that. And so these people don't do it either. They don't have the right to try and change anything. And it just shows you that they're weak people who don't believe in themselves or anything, to the point that they've got to go out and try and validate themselves by talking to 3-year-olds. Oh my God, the 3-year-olds believe me. Yes, now I'm right. I mean, think of that's what's happening, guys. This is how pathetic it is. That energy is, that's not, I don't know what that is. It's not male, it's not female. It's just, I don't know, toilet energy. Let's call it that.
That's a good way to put it. Your sexuality is your sexuality. It's not your personality. If you ask Cambell who he is and what he's doing, he's not going to go, oh, I like blondes. That's who I am, or I have a foot fetish. That's who I am. You're going like, good. Why you tell me that? Like, I'm gay. It's like, I don't care where you want to put your private parts and your private times. It's not what we're talking about here. And if that's your entire personality, eventually for everyone, sexuality probably fades. You get older. What was important when you're 18 might not be important when you're 48, or as important anyways. And then you find there's other ways to develop your personality, your life, your will, your settings, your desires, your dreams, your goals in life. But if you're just, nothing sadder than an old gay man, and nothing sadder than, I've seen, I remember traveling to Miami with my parents when I was a young lad. We used to go in the summers, and just seeing this old woman, it's too much makeup and a miniskirt and high heels, and she was in her 80s. And to this day, that image, unfortunately, is burned into my memory,
But it is sad. You see these people, they've lived these lifestyles, and they, hit 40, 45, 50, and suddenly, they're not so pretty anymore. They've abused their bodies, and no one really wants to be with them because of the way they've lived their lives. And that comes back to, guys, everything you do has a consequence. Before you jump in, think about where it's going to lead you. And because this is the thing, everyone's following all this crap, and it's not working. It's not working. And they're ending up these hollow people. But then the younger generation are still doing it. So they're not being shown the results of that lifestyle. It's been hidden. That they don't. So we need to, talk about this and be realistic too. We need to be truthful and talk truth. All this skirting around matters, and you shouldn't talk about politics or God and all this kind of crap.
Be polite. Nah. Be polite. Yes,
be
fuck
polite.
that.
Don't offend anyone. Don't offend anyone. So definitely snowflakes aren't males. All this offending crap. Be offended. It's there was who's that comedy, the heavy metal comic?
Oh,
can't remember.
Hughes guy. Hughes.
Yeah. Hughes. What does he say? He says, "Oh, this lady, she went out to a party and someone said something and she got offended, and she ran home." And I'm like, nothing happens.
Nothing
You
happens.
don't wake up with leukemia or anything. Nothing happens. When you get offended, nothing happens.
So
So
you're
guess
offended.
what? Just don't get offended.
Yeah, get offended.
Okay.
I'm offended every day. If I express my offense at the way people are, like in the way they're masking children, in the way they're being stupid, and what goes on TV, and what gets shit onto my screen when I turn on even YouTube for a little while, like the crap that comes on that I don't ask for, and in the other places I go walking, I'd spend my whole life, gibbering in a corner offended. Instead, in the middle of it, I do what I feel like doing. When I'll walk by a child these days or a young person in a mask, their parents are too stupid. I used to get offended. Not even so long ago. Now I'll just stop, smile, look at them, and I'll take a few deep breaths with my mouth open on purpose. Going, isn't that nice? Taking a deep breath on a hot day without a mask. Imagine that. I won't say it because, that's kind of rude. Maybe, but I'll say, here's a man living how he wants to live without his mask, enjoying his life, smiling and laughing. And maybe that will, like the old lady that affected me in the miniskirt when I was, 8. Maybe I'll have the opposite positive effect on someone young who will have that burn into their image. Or go, hey, wasn't there that guy one day when my parents were saying I should do this crazy thing? So, so a real man maybe is a good example. That's another way to put it, right? Once you grow in a pair, you're an example to everyone around you all day long, simply by being someone who stands in their power, and expressing that unabashedly.
Yeah. Action's a massive part of masculinity. Without the action, there's no masculine energy. You've got to act. You've got to be the change you want to see, just like Lorenzo said. And that's all it has to be. Standing, stopping, smiling, a few deep breaths. Don't have to say anything, because if people have to believe like you, then you don't know who you are. You don't know who you are. If you know who you are, then you're fine with everyone. Okay, that's their life. I might not agree with it. I really don't like the fact that kid's got a mask on, but this is how I can affect them. I can be the change. I can at least make them think. If I run up and start yelling at them, what's that going to do? They're going to go, oh my God, those unmasked people are crazy. Yeah. Quick, double mask, get another mask on that baby. So we don't tell, we show. You just be who you are, and yeah.
Unless you're asked, maybe
unless you're asked.
Unless you're asked. I found that's a strong way to be. Is you don't give your opinion unless you're asked, one way or the other. Unless someone says, hey, what do you think? Or hey, what's your expression? Or hey, like that. A man is okay with being alone, in that way. A man is okay with being right by themselves. Some of the best people I've gotten to know over the last year, through YouTube and some personal interactions, have been the kind of people that are, I would say, independent wolves. It seems to me a lot of them, Cambell smiling over there. Like when I turn down my computer and I look out the window, I don't see too many people agreeing with me, in my local neighborhood or the local mall, or even this crazy country I'm in, Japan, with 120 million people. I see very few people that I've noticed, but I don't care.
No,
doesn't bother me.
We had a mask. I'm in Perth and we haven't had a lot here, but we had a lockdown a few weeks ago. Everyone had to wear a face thing. But I don't wear face things. So I didn't. And I went into the shop, just walked in, did my thing. No one even looked at me twice. So you've got to act. You've just got to act. No one gets to tell you, what a man is and what you can do. If someone's trying to stop you or make you go against your morals, then you need to talk to that person and ask them why they think that they own you, and they can tell you what to do. Because this is the other thing, this being scared of the law, oh my God, being scared of all these rules, and oh my God, grow a pair, guys.
Yeah,
seriously. Really. Seriously. I mean, you've left home, right? So you don't have parents anymore. So you don't need people to tell you how to live. If you do, start reading books, work it out yourself. Don't get it from the TV. It's yes. I mean, yeah, just think things through, work out who you are, and then act, walk in that power.
Yeah, these signatures for protest, or sign this, or I don't know how many emails I get. This politician is great. Finally, someone that can't be corrupted, or sign this. I forget what they're called now. This list is saying that they shouldn't do this, or come out and tell them not to do that. And I've always wondered why. I'm like, am I uncommunity based? Am I unsympathetic to my fellow man? Like, why when I look at these does it turn my stomach? Why when someone's coming to me and saying, there's this person's going to help us, and I think a man just goes, you can tell that they don't do anything. These signature lists I've never seen one of them change it. 7,000 doctors are on. Oh my goodness, you got to watch this video. All these doctors are telling you COVID is crazy and this is bad and it's bad. You're going, yeah, so what? No, I knew that 2 years ago. So okay, so someone is agreeing. It's nice. There's some doctors out there that aren't complete raving, monstrous lunatics. It's good to hear. But how does that change my life? It really doesn't, unless I change my life. It doesn't do anything.
Yeah. So doctors, who shut down and are told what to do and then complain. Well, who cares? No one cares. Yeah. Be a man and stand up for yourself and keep your business open, because everything, I'm not getting into it, but everything they're doing is illegal. So a man, doesn't sit there and bend over. He goes, no, this is my business. This feeds my family. I mean, come on, you're going to let someone take away your ability to look after your family? That's not manly.
No.
Listening to, pathetic little men in suits is not manly. Stand up for yourself. Question everything. Don't bend, guys. And another thing is, I had a chat yesterday with Tom, and he mentioned that we don't see, oh God, now I've lost the word. Strikes at work. We used to have strikes all the time. All right. So the company would say, we're doing this. All the men would get together and go, no, you're not.
No, you're not. Yeah.
And they wouldn't. What's happened to that? We should be having strikes worldwide at the moment. Where are the males' testicles? Seriously.
I guess French men have testicles. They're striking there.
The French are doing well. Yes, they are doing well. I like the French farmers. and this is it, guys. Like, and of course, we're not being shown any of this, but we need to get together and that's what men do, right? This is how they used to protect villages and all this kind of stuff. And so this is what we need to do again, form groups. If you're being bullied and you've got a business, get a couple of hundred men down there to stand around your business all day and keep the men in blue away, because if they're stopping you making money, they are your enemy.
Yeah, they're not police, they're thugs. They're thugs. They're not politicians. They're psychopathic, idiots in suits that think they can tell you what to do, and they can't unless you say they can.
They can't. And exactly. So if you give away your power, then they can, and that's not manly. And that's how we've got here.
It is.
Because not enough men have stood up and talked, or women, but obviously we're focusing on men today. But yeah, this is a thing. If you don't stand up and stop things and say, here's the line, they'll just walk straight over that line. In Sydney at the moment, they're knocking on doors and they're going forcefully into houses. I mean, where's the line there? The line's gone. It's got to be redrawn and it's got to be defended. And
there's ways without being confrontational, I find, to do like, as an example, in an interesting story, there's a census in Canada, then it became illegal not to give them the census, right? So, they would come back once and I tell them to F off, and they come back again, 2 weeks later and I tell them to F off. And then, I had an epiphany. I'm going, all right, it's got to be legal. They're going to keep coming back. Maybe a man can be intelligent and find other options. So when they said, well, how many people live here? 8, what's the oldest? 76, what's your job? I'm a pig farmer, and how many kids do you have? 7? What are the names? I gave them 4. I said, I've forgotten the other 3. There's just so many, and I did it with a straight face. And eventually the lady went away, took all this information, filed it wherever she had to file it. And I never saw them again, and how did that happen? I don't know, but there's a part in this world, and Cambell and I talked about this a little before we came on. I don't want to sound any woo-woo, but the world listens to you when you're a man, outside, inside, sideways, metaphysically speaking, if you look at that aspect of things, if you want to study it, the 3D, 4D, and 5D world, and it's a topic maybe for a different conversation. But what I found is when you stand in your power, and maybe a confrontation with your fists isn't a direct right answer. For those of us who are going, well, I'm a little guy, like Cambell said, I'm only 5'4" and I don't believe. Find a way to stand in your. Like I'm a humorous guy, so I use humor. Maybe someone's a dancer, they'll use dancing. Maybe someone's a carpenter and they'll use carpentering. Doesn't really matter. right? There's as many ways to be manly as there are men who have balls. And part of being a
Exactly.
man is for you to figure out what that is for you.
For
How you, no one can tell you. I can't tell you. Cambell can't tell. I don't want anyone to think I'm telling anyone how to do in this conversation. I'm simply sharing my experience as someone who didn't used to be a man. My father was very unmanly. He let my mother wear the pants in the family, and it fucked me around for years until I realized, I had to stand up and I had to make my choices, and I had to be how I had to be the kind of man I wanted to grow into. So, no excuses. Where there's a will, there's a way. That's an old one, and I found that to be true.
Yep. Men find a way through. They don't find excuses. That's the thing. And like Lorenzo said, we're all on this path. None of us, I mean, I'm sure there's some out there that have had very good fathers, but most of us haven't been taught this stuff. So, don't sit and cry about it.
Yeah.
Just work it out, go forward, do something, become the person you want to be, and become that person who walks down the street and everyone goes, oh, look at that person. They're powerful. Be the person that people, have that masculine power. So people, you don't even get into these confrontations because people sense you. They're like, oh no, I'd rather not mess with him because there's just something about that. And it's your energy that they're feeling and reading. And that's the thing. You need to have that. And of course, it's if you walk around with the masculine is I'm here to kill everyone and everyone sucks. Well, you're going to get in a lot of fights because that's everyone who wants a fight's going to go, oh, there's one.
Yeah.
So give off, become who you want to be, act the way that you want to be, and you'll become the man you want to be. You've just got to live it and live into it. Take the action. Be scared. Speak even if your voice trembles. It's because on the fifth time it won't be trembling. This is just do it. Life is scary. Sure, you can use that word, but it's really just because you've never been there before. It's just a new experience. That's all it is. It's not scary. Scary is just a word that society's given you.
It's your adrenaline getting ready for action. Nothing wrong with your adrenaline getting up. There's nothing wrong with noticing that you're about to do something new. There's nothing wrong with stepping into something you're not aware of or you're not sure the answer is going to be. Well, that's what a man would do, right? Is like I read an old story about a hero. A hero isn't someone who does things and they're never afraid. A hero is someone who may be afraid and gets over their fears and does things anyways. Right? So if you're afraid, good. Use it. Let it advise you. Let it tell you what you know about yourself. So maybe the next time the little voice says you're afraid, you can go, nah, maybe a little bit, but I'm going to do it anyways. Or this is scary. Sure, it's scary, but I'm going to do it anyways. What's the worst?
What's the worst that could happen?
Yeah, everyone's going to perhaps die anyways. I've heard all kinds of alternative theories, but we'll leave it at that for now. Or maybe you're endless and you can't die. However you look at it, you're either endless or you're going to die anyways. Well, what the fuck are you waiting for? Right? You're only here for so long.
You don't get to do it again. Yeah, you don't get to do it again. So do it right the first time.
Cambell's one of, I'm a one of. That's why the snowflakes are all individual. If you pardon me using the term for snowflakes, and I hate the fact that they've taken rainbows and snowflakes, of which I love both, and turned them into something anal and dirty. But that's a testicle for another day, we'll say. It's more like you're unique, and even if you're infinite, you're only unique in this way once. So you either get to be the best you are, or one day, maybe when you take that last breath, you're going to go, son of a bitch.
Crap.
Crap.
And the thing is, if you don't learn your lessons now, guys, you're just going to have to come back and do it again.
Probably true.
So just take a chance. Take a chance. Do it this time.
At the very least, if you don't do it now, it'll come back next year.
Exactly.
Because you're maybe we can end up with something I've seen is that all circumstances in your life. Cambell mentioned that don't blame, even if it looks like it's not your fault. Even if it looks like someone else is attacking you and angry and yelling, perhaps, or I found, stand back and go, why did I ask for this situation? Why am I asking for this experience? Maybe you're 100% in the right and 20 people in the room are 100% in the wrong. What is it I need to learn about myself to be better as myself in this world in relation to this experience without pointing the finger other than to myself. And, you know, what do
Exactly.
what do I need to take from this situation? You
Yeah,
know, you'll
exactly.
find some miraculous things happen at that point.
Yeah. Always bring it back to you. The world's just there teaching you, you know, it's not there for anything else. It's just all about you. So yeah, whatever's happening, it's a message for you. So there we go. I think we covered everything, did we?
Yeah, I think we've come full circle to it's all about you. Isn't that what people want to hear? It's all about me, but it's not all about me. But not in a narcissistic way where I'm great and it's all about me. You know, take whatever is bad, you can find the good. It is all about you, but it's all about you gaining your own power, becoming strong, growing up here. Even if you're a woman, you know, you can, you know, look for a man who's growing up here so that you can become all that you feel like being, or just decide to be alive how you feel and see what happens in relation to all the other people that come and go, and enjoy the ride, as they've said. Enjoy the ride.
Exactly.
All right. Well, Cambell, thank you so much. This has been fun. I've enjoyed it very much. Grow up hair. I'll get this out as soon as possible, or when the balls drop. You know, that'll be another possible title we'll use for this. And we're always welcome to your questions and suggestions and recommendations. I'll leave Cambell's information below. He'll leave mine below when it's on his. We're going to be together at an event. I'll mention it briefly now. August 24th in North America, August 25th for those of us in Australia and Japan. It'll be on powerful parenting. I'll leave a link for how you can join the event. If you haven't signed up yet, it'll be free, but you must sign in to join us. And perhaps you'll get a chance, as I have, to talk with Cambell or me and ask some lovely questions from us both.
Awesome. All right. We'll see you all there then, guys. 2 weeks.
Thank you so much. I loved it today. Thank you, Cambell. I love you all. See you all again.
Thanks, guys.
Can't make me lie to my heart. No one tells me where I should start. Freedom first is what I say.